Alright, what's up guys, Azura here, and we are back again with another deck profile. This time we're going to be taking a look at a clan event deck. Actually, this was last month, but better late than never. We're going to be taking a look at Vanquisher. So, Vanquisher got a bit of support from the last wave of Nara support, and honestly, when I say a bit, I actually mean a bit, because a lot of it was like a jumble mess of ERAT support that doesn't help the deck at all whatsoever. So Vanquisher itself got like a bit of support, a few new cards here and there, but honestly not that big. And honestly speaking, you could probably just skip this wave of support for the most part. Get two of the GR and call it a day. But today I wanted to take a look at a list that I thought of that focuses on the new GR, being the voltage, the Vanquisher voltage. So without further ado, here is the list, and I'll go over the thought process of why this list specifically is focusing on the voltage instead of the conquest when we get to the voltage itself. But we'll start from top to bottom as per usual. First off is the starter. We're playing the Grade 3 Searcher. CB1, go to Soul, check out 5, add a Grade 3 to hand. Naru starters, all of them just kind of suck, and the new one we got is not much better. All the ones are just kind of bad. They're always kind of whatever, so we just play this one. So securing right that we're a bad thing, so yeah. 4 Stride Fodder, 4 PG. And then another 4 we play is the Gunner. So this is back all the way back in set 5 of Naru's. But his skill is on play. Choose one of your opponent's intercepts. Choose one of your opponent's units, and they lose intercept for the turn. So intercept sealer, or more commonly referred to as the Gunners. The Gunners just like they seal out an intercept for a turn. We play this guy because the Gunners are the reason why we can focus on the voltage. And as you see in the grade 2 lineup, I maxed out on the Gunners as well in grade 2 as well as grade 1. So 4 Gunners here, and then 1 Rising Phoenix on play, so lots to draw one. So just fill our one up, pretty nice. If you draw it, it's cool. You don't draw it, it's whatever. Just kind of there's a one up, and that's it for the grade 1s. Grade 2s, more Gunners, more the Intercept Sealers. He's the grade 2 version. Does the exact same thing, but it's a grade 2 instead. Works on a Vanguard circle as well, which is cool, I guess. When you ride it, you can stun an intercept, which is pretty nice. So for this dude, next up we're playing 3 Voltage Horns. So his skill is GB1. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if he is boosted, CB1, retire one of your opponent's rear guards with priority with priority to back row, and choose 2 cards in your opponent's drop zone and bind them. So I don't think this card's particularly amazing, and you could argue Rock Climb is the better alternative to this card, but this card binds 1 extra card, which actually does matter because Voltage does care for the amount of cards that are in your opponent's bind zone. So that's personally why I choose to play this. Also, because Rock Climb requires Soul, and if you play too many Rock Climbs, for 1, you can't resolve all of them, and for 2, if you ever use Rising Phoenix once, you basically turn off like half the grade 2s in your deck. So which is why I personally choose to go for a slightly higher ratio of Voltage Horns as compared to Rock Climbs, but honestly they do very similar jobs. But and so I just play 3 of these. You can swap these around, the ratio between the Rock Climb and the Voltage Horn as you see fit. I guess I'll just go over the Rock Climb now, just because I'm talking both of them. But Rock Climb, he's the Glimmer clone for this deck. His skill is GB1 on play if your Vanguard's a grade 3 or higher Vanquisher. Soul Blast 1, Counter Blast 1. Retire one of your opponent's rear guards with priority to back row, and then bind 1 random card on your opponent's drop zone, and then he gets plus 2k. So the trade-offs from both sides. The trade-off is that he doesn't need to be boosted to get the retire, and he himself gets plus 2k, which is pretty cool because then he turns himself into a solo attacker. Downside, he costs a soul and needs Vanquisher Vanguard, but that's not really the biggest downside because Voltage is a Vanquisher and your main ride is Vanquisher, so not much of a downside. And the fact that the bind is only bind 1 and it's random bind, so you can't choose what to bind here, which in some matchups where you need to bind very specific cards, it does matter. So it's trade-offs. I don't think one's particularly that much better than the other. If Soul wasn't like, if you weren't using Rising Phoenix at all, like you just cut this one off, one of completely out of the deck, you could probably just max out on Rock Climb instead. But I personally just value the Voltage Horn more because I do actually like the extra bind that it gets, and the fact that it's selective bind. So I think it's like a little like a trade-off between the two, but that's just ratios I have right now. But you can feel free to play around with these. Finally, the last grade 2, the best grade 2 in the deck, is the Chatara Vanguard rear. This unit, I think this unit cannot attack a rear guard skill, so cool, I guess. Can't attack rears, but whatever. You want to be pointing this card at face anyways. During your turn plus 3k, and then GB1 on hit the Vanguard, CB1 to draw 1, and then choose one of your opponent's card and drop one and bind it. So it's a bind, it's a draw, and it's a solo attacker. really good card. No reason not to play more of this card. This card is by far the best grade 2 this deck has. So yeah. So that's it for grade 2s, triggers, 4 heal guards, 2 Dragonic Hydro Vermilion, CB2. He gains vulnerability, he gets plus 2k and swings the entire front row, and when he attacks the Vanguard, plus 3k. So we're playing 2 of him because we're playing 3 of his Legion leader, the Dragonic Kaiser Crimson. He legions with the Vermilion, Limerick 4. Once per turn, when you use an auto ability, it loses the cost. Basically, it turns the CV2 on Vanquisher, or on, not Vanquisher, on Vermilion to make it free instead of CV2. So that's pretty nice. And then if you have a card in the middle column, Soul Blast 1, get plus 2k, which is pretty cool. I guess doesn't come too often, but it's there. But yeah, there's just a little Legion package. This is here to deal with resist. This is here to put triggers back. I've seen some people play the new Dragonic stuff. There was a new Dragonics. I don't remember Stinger or Drill, but there's the new Dragonics grade 3 that on place Limerick 4 CB2 to retire everything on the board on both sides. So a slightly cheaper Tempest Bolt, but I personally like this just because I don't want to be holding CB just for that card. I want to just be able to use CBs for every skill I have available. So for example, I want to use CB on Rock Climb, I want to use CB on Chartota, I want to use CB on the Voltage Horn, I want to use CB on Vanquisher's Stride bonus. I don't want to be holding CB just for that card in some situations where it might come up. So I'd rather not hinder my own gameplay like that. So that's why I personally choose to not play the Tonics grade 2. But the upside to playing that is that you actually get to swing rears first instead of van first, because with the Crimson, if you're punching over stuff, you have to swing van first, meaning your rear cards don't scale. But with that card, you can always swing van last because the van does get plus 10k, which is pretty cool. So there's always that. But yeah, I think it comes down to preference at the end of the day. But I personally do like the Legion package more, just because it is a Legion and it's lower investment on the cost wise. But the upside to playing the Tanox is that it deals with the Thuria better, because it pops all of them so they can't recycle them. But this deck deals with the Thurias relatively well anyways, just because you bind them if they put them out early, which is pretty cool. So yeah. And if you're wondering, because I have been asked multiple times, do Gunners get over or resist? No, they do not. Gunners target. Resist means you can't target them, meaning the Gunners cannot intercept, seal any resist units. But so yeah. And finally, the Draconic Vanquisher, the main ride of the deck. The GB2 can come up now because you're playing Rock Climb, but it still basically never comes up. When something's retired plus 3 plus a crit on GB2, because you're always striding anyway, so this skill basically is never there. But his actual skill is when you stride on top of him, CB1, choose one of your points rear guards in the front row, retire it, and then bind it, and then plus 3k on ride. So yeah, it's your main ride. So yeah, and it's just not much else to say. It's a free retire on ride, always pretty good. So yeah, and that's it for the main deck. G Zone, 1 Harmonics, just because Narukami still doesn't have very good strides, so Harmonics is a cool one of. 1 Zoras is always your first stride, unless you're playing specifically Link Joker and you need to go on Harmonics for whatever reason. But Zoras your first stride. His skill is on hit to Vanguard, retire one of your opponent's rear guards with priority to back row, choose 2 cards in drop zone, and bind it. So yeah, first stride. This is your first stride. We play one of it just because 1 Harmonics is cool to have sometimes, and then you just need something to stride into first. So there's the Zoras. And then next up, and also the Voltage is basically just a glorified Zoras at the end of the day. But yeah, that's why we only play 1 Zoras now. 2 Conquest, GB2 once per turn, G Persona Flip. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards in front row, retire it, and then your entire front row gets plus 5k. So that's pretty cool. Scales kind of, and then hits a retire, which is pretty nice. And the reason we're only playing 2 of this now is because this deck specifically is focused on Voltage, which I'll go over now as to why we're focusing on this deck on Voltage for this deck. Voltage's skill is on place G Flip to gain the following 2 abilities. On hit the Vanguard, retire one of your points back row with priority to retire one of your point rear guards with priority to back row. Choose 2 cards in the drop zone and bind it. So literally the exact same thing as Zoraz. And then GB3. For every one card in your opponent's bind zone, your front row gets plus 2k. So this card on paper just looks like a glorified Zoraz, which it honestly is. But the reason why we want to make Zoraz our focus point of this deck is because of the GB3 skill, which is plus 2k to front row. Conquest does scale, but a lot of the times, unless you specifically have Stormy as one of your boosters, or both your boosters rather, you are always on a one pass to hit for like a heal, to hit over a heal guard. Because a lot of times it's like with Conquest, it's like you go like heal first swing poke like heal guard and then PG. But with Conquest but with not Conquest, but with Voltage and Gunners, you ideally, assuming no resist, obviously, you Vanquisher one of the intercepts, and then you Gunner the other one. And since you're on Voltage, your lanes should all be hitting over heal guard thresholds. Meaning, once your opponent's at 5, this deck is consistently checking for 3 PGs every turn, meaning your opponent will die probably by second stride. And that's something that Conquest just can't do sometimes. And if they're at 4, Conquest just does not scale at all, because usually, like, if they hit 1 defensive, you instantly turn off, like, 2 PG checks into, like, a heal guard and a PG check, or even double heal guard. But with Voltage, you're still guaranteed at least, probably basically guaranteed at least 1 PG check, even if they get defensive at 4, when they're at 4 on 5th damage. So yeah, it's, TLDR, Voltage, give big number, intercept sealers, let you steal intercepts, big numbers go burr, basically. So yeah, so the focus point of this deck is that instead of you relying on Conquest to get the second retire off to hit the other intercept, you use the Gunners for free to seal off the other intercept, and then you just take advantage of Voltage's really big numbers to go face to ensure that 1, your lane scale, and for 2, you're hitting for PGs as often as possible, so you don't have to interact with heal guards as much. So which is very nice. As at the end of the day, they only have 4 PGs, and if they don't have enough of them or enough heal guards to block a very big attack, they die. So yeah. As to which build I think is better, I actually do like this build more, just because overall I don't think Naru is particularly good right now. I think they're like a very like middle of the pack deck where it just kind of does okay things overall. But at least with this deck's gimmick, you're at least hitting for really big numbers, so you can ignore heal cards, which like Conquest just can't do sometimes if they're at 4. Even at 5, it's a little awkward, like I said before. Even they're at 5, unless you sack like 2 or 3 triggers, you're still only hitting for like heal guard PG. With this deck, the instant they're at 5, they're getting asked for 3 PGs a turn, which is very threatening. They're definitely dead by second turn, which is something Conquest cannot do sometimes, which I think gives this deck a cool little gimmick that the other quote-unquote version of the deck can't do. So yeah, so that's it for my take on the Voltage on the new Vanquisher deck. I'll the games right after this as per usual, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.